negotiating property sales prices. How do you do this and what's it all about? So if you've got a question you'd like to have me answer as one of the Just Ask Ryan questions of the day, all you've got to do is just type it in the comments below. So when we start talking about negotiating sales price, this is going to vary drastically depending upon how you're acquiring the property. For example, if you're doing like a private or a public auction, that's going to be a different way of negotiating. There's not a lot of negotiating there. With that, it's about setting a firm price you just won't go above and not going above it. Whereas if we're talking about negotiating on a property that's listed on the MLS, has a real estate agent involved, that's going to be a different way of negotiating. Right now, in 2021, there's not a lot of negotiating going on. It is a seller's market, and the sellers are making the determination as to pricing. I'll give you an example. My wife, who's a real estate broker, just made an offer for a client. The property was listed for $380,000. The day they listed it, the next morning, they raised the price to $410,000, $20,000 higher than what they originally had it listed. And then the next day, they accepted an offer for $440,000, $60,000 more than what the asking price originally was, because there's multiple offers and people fighting over it. Now, that's not a good environment to find a good deal. So how do you find a good deal and negotiate on it? What you want to do is you want to go after motivated sellers. A motivated seller is somebody that has equity and somebody that has a reason they have to sell. Typically, these are properties that are in disrepair. These are properties that are in need of work. These are properties that are going to have a hard time selling on the open market. And so what they're willing to do is sell it at a discount because they don't want the hassle of selling it. They don't want people coming through the house. They don't want to fix the property up. They just want to sell it as is and get out of it. It may be a home that they inherited. It may be that they're going through a foreclosure. It may be they're dealing with a bankruptcy, a divorce. It may be because they're an out-of-state owner. They're a burnt-out landlord. There's all kinds of different ways. And by the way, our Investors Edge software can show you these different ways of finding deals that also have equity so you can target market to those. And that's where I think negotiating really comes in. Because at that point, the first thing you've got to do is you've got to make a relationship with the seller. You've got to understand their needs and help solve their problems. And I say that, and I just don't want to breeze over it, because most people, when they have a problem, they don't tell you about it. You have to do what's called peeling the onion, and you have to keep asking why, what happened, how can we resolve this, what would work for you. You've got to get to the deeper meaning, because everybody's got some meaning, something that's deep down inside there, but you've got to peel a few layers back before you actually get to that. And if you don't get to that, you can't even begin the negotiating, because the negotiating doesn't start until you've peeled the onion back and know what they really need. And lots of times that may come with some emotion. Lots of times that may come with some tears. Lots of times that may come with some frustration. And you've just got to be listening, and don't start negotiating until you know what that is. What's going on? What's happened? Where are you going? What would you do? What would you do with money? Where are you moving to? How come? Why? What would that do? How would this make your life better? These are open-end questions that you're continually asking until you get down to the deep cause. Because if I ask you, why does this guy want to sell? And you say, oh, because he just wants to move, you have not gotten that far. But if you say, he lost his job, they've been having financial difficulties, the money that he's able to get from this is going to help him as best they can. They're moving in with family because his daughter's not feeling well and she's sick and his wife's about to leave. Now you start getting to a real why. So if you don't know that real why, one, you haven't created a good enough relationship for them to tell you. And the way you create that relationship is not being a salesman. You create it by saying, how can I help solve your problem? And that's what I think of myself as a real estate problem solver. How can I help them solve the problem? They have a problem. They may need money. They may need it fast. They may need to have it over with. They may need to stop making payments. They have some sort of a problem. And if I can find what that problem is, then I can offer a solution that may work for them. And that may be that we close in a couple of weeks, or that may be we close in a couple of months. That may be that I need to help them find a new house or a rental property that they can rent from. It may be a variety of different things, but until I know what that is, the negotiation hasn't even began. Once I know what that is, Then I start structuring to say, what will work for you? What would you like to see? I don't like to negotiate. I like people to negotiate against themselves. And the best way you can do that is understanding their needs and then asking them what they would like. Typically what happens when I ask what they would like, or what would be an offer, they want to throw it back onto me. I don't allow that. I keep asking them until I do it. Sometimes I'll use bracketing if I have to throw something out, but typically I want them to name the price. And as soon as they name the price, I look surprised. They say 100,000. I'm like, oh man, holy cow, that's a lot of money. No matter what price they throw out. And then what I say is that the very best you could do? And I let them name a new price. And they say, well, how about 90,000? I'm like, oh man, holy cow, like this house needs a ton of work. 90,000, that's a lot of money. Is that the best you can do? They say, well, maybe 85,000. Oh man, holy cow, that's a lot of money. Is that the best you can do? And eventually they get to a place where they say, that's the best I can do. Now, this is not about manipulation. This is about them giving me the price and what their bottom line actually is, rather than having to have me go hunt and peck for it. So, I think there's some great tips that can help you out as you're negotiating on a sales price on an off-market deal. Again, if it's on, and this is another reason why you should be using Investor's Edge. If you'd like to use Investor's Edge, check us out over at dohardmoney.com. But before you do, please hit that thumbs up button. It tells the YouTube logarithm that you like this video and more of this should be shown. And it also tells me that you like it, because I check and see those. And if you've got a Just Ask Ryan question of the day you'd like to have me answer, type it in the comments below. I have another video on negotiating tactics and strategies that you're going to want to check out that can help you with this subject as well. I can tell you that more money is made or lost in negotiating than anything else. If you can get a $5,000 price swing just by asking a few simple questions, that's $5,000 just in your pocket for answering asking a couple of questions. The return on that is crazy good. So make sure that you ask a few of those questions, understand people's needs, really help solve for their true problems, and that's going to help you in real estate investing. And if we can help you, check us out over at dohardmoney.com. You can check out our software for valuing properties, our software for understanding if it's a good deal, our advanced deal analysis. We have softwares on the Next Deal Blueprint. We have Investor's Edge software to help you get access to comps and properties and off-market properties for marketing and marketing efforts. And we also have videos, information, training, and scripts, forms, tools, you name it. Give us a holler. Otherwise, make it a very profitable day. And bye for now.